Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm about to change the way you think about hiring for your companies, about hiring VAs, about hiring any form of employment position, any form of contractual position, any form of position that requires somebody to be competent, somebody to work for you hard and make you a lot of money by extension, because that's why we're hiring the person, is for us to reap their labor and make money from them. So who am I to confidently come here and make this bold statement to say I'm going to change the way you hire for your company? I have employed and hired thousands of people. But by the time I was 19, 20 years old, I was already hiring tens and tens of people. And I have a few years under my belt, and currently I employ hundreds of people all across the globe, locally in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, South America. There's no place I have not done transactions in, business interactions in, as far as hiring people and doing contracts, of course. But this video specifically is focused on hiring people. So why are we here? Why are we here talking about hiring and employment? If you came to this video, you probably are out there looking for how to hire people. You're probably advertising. You're probably searching for a way you can improve your operations. You're probably tired of hiring lazy VAs, hiring lazy local employees. Just hiring and managing people is a pain. It's a pain. Let's just be honest. I've hired and managed people from all walks of life, different types of cultures. And I don't want to waste your time, but let's talk about the successes and failures I've had as far as hiring. Today, we have huge companies that hire hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people in some cases. Microsoft, Amazon, OpenAI, and so on. They hire people not because people want to naturally work for them. That's not the case. They're hiring these people because they're able to pay $500,000 a year, $1,000,000 a year, in some cases $1 billion a year. How does one person make $1 billion in 1 year? And how are you, as a small business, as a medium-sized business, as a fairly large business, maybe doing 100 million, but we're going to focus on the small, medium-sized businesses, going to pay $1 billion to somebody? How do you compete with that? We compete with ideology. We compete with training. We compete with strategic compensation. We compete with competence. And that's why I started the Competence Network. I have scaled multiple companies from zero to millions in revenue without raising any capital from anybody. And I continue to do this. And I have formed the structural model. In today's time, for the first time in history, we can now have companies, small companies, one-person companies, do millions in revenue, if not billions soon, because of the AI we now have. Companies will now be doing millions and billions in revenue with hiring only a few people and having systems in place. And that's why I'm here today. I don't want to waste your time. Let's dive into everything. So I'm going to change the way you think about business, about hiring, about employment, about everything. So who am I? Again, I've hired across industries. So this is just not a tech guy or some sales guy that's hired a bunch of salespeople, a bunch of tech people. I have hired people in various industries. In the aerospace industry, I have hired people. When I was doing mergers and acquisitions for a company I was part of the board in cybersecurity, I hired a pilot because I had to fly around. That's one area I've hired in. I have hired people in mergers and acquisitions. I sat on a board that collectively had a combined transaction value of about $10 billion, $12 billion, if I can recall. I built this board myself when I was only 21 years old. already 3 years in business. We went out there, we were looking at companies, we were analyzing financials. I was traveling all across the United States, looking, analyzing, taking meetings with people. How was I able to scale and do this without having the initial revenue coming in to fund everything? I was able to hire VAs, virtual assistants all across the world. I had trial and error. I was hiring. I took advantage of the opportunity I had. The United States offers us a dollar which is more powerful in purchase power in different countries. I'm able to hire graduates, college graduates outside the United States and pay them high level salaries, all because I had more earning power here. I have sacrificed my own life, my own livelihood to hire people. I have degraded my life as far as standard of living so I could hire people fast. And I have learned the secrets of how people hire. And now we're out here sharing the resources with different companies so you, as a one-person company, 10-person company, 20, 50-person company, can save money and make more money with your hiring process. Like I said, we're not just hiring globally, we're hiring locally too. We also have local employees within the United States, but people are not committed to train. And by training, what do I mean? Training, I mean to have a painful experience so we can have a favorable outcome for whatever the objective is. Painful experience to have a favorable outcome for whatever the objective is. And for me personally, in some of the businesses I was in the transportation business I lost money. I grossed and made a lot of money as far as net profit. We made money. But as far as when we came down to paying all the expenses and paying all the payroll and paying all the salaries, you lost money. Why is that so? I'm not operating at a scale of raising capital and could burn a lot of capital until we get profitable. That was not my business model. My business model was, hey, revenue in, how do I make some money in, how do I pay my people? But that was not the case. I was in very different verticals that had high expenses. I was paying high levels of insurance, high levels of gas, high levels of payroll locally, and unfortunately, we lost money, but we learned from that. I strategically learned economics of scale, the economics of hiring people, managing people. What tasks can I hire from offshore? What tasks should I have in the United States? What tasks can I automate? Where do I apply software? Where do I apply automation? It made me become resourceful. By making millions in revenue, making zero profit, it taught me a rough lesson. I've hired in the entertainment industry. So this is not just about the transportation company. I've had entertainment companies. I've done billions, helped people to do billions of views all across the entertainment social media landscape, and we've done hundreds of millions in sales. And myself too, I'm currently doing this, doing hundreds of millions in views every month, and I've recruited and hired in the entertainment industry, and we're doing fine there. I've hired in the software industry. I've hired in the audio engineering industry. I've hired in the aerospace engineering industry. My experience does not just lie in one vertical. I have touched multiple very challenging verticals in which you need to have high levels of competence. You need to have high levels of efficiency. You need to have the highest levels of training, certifications, and the highest level of competent minds to look at specific and get into the details that only an owner can understand. How do you teach an employee to have owner level ownership into your company, owner level investment into your company, high level training, painful training invested, and how do you compensate them? That's what we're about to get into. I've done that in software. Like I said, I have taken multiple sacrifices. I don't spend much on luxuries, but I do own a few luxury possessions. That's not the why we're here. I don't know why these pictures are here. But we're going to dive into why we are ultimately here and what the Competence Network is. So I started an institution and organization called the Competence Network. This network, in my experience and my career of hiring people offshore and in the United States, I have built a network of extremely competent people, and I have built a system that trains these people, retains these people, compensates these people, and most importantly, helps these people help you compete with companies like Amazon, with companies like Microsoft, with companies like OpenAI. How do you compete with companies that are raising billions of dollars in revenue and you are only spending a few $100 a month, but still compete with them? You compete through ideology. That's my philosophy. If the ideas in your employees' minds are not only solely linked to money, like these other companies have, they just have a huge pool of people, and they're moving off fear. The systematic fear we have today of pay your rent, make sure your rent's paid on time, make sure you can eat, make sure you can support your family, and if you can't do that high level task for our company, you lose that through proxy. That's the only thing they have. But ideology of industry that I have been able to cultivate in the minds of the people I'm working with is priceless, something that a corporation can never do. The people that are working for us are working because they have a mission, they have a purpose, they have a sense of objective. They want to see the world change for the good. They are working 24/7. Oh, pardon me for that. Our systems are running 24/7. The softwares we have are world class and are operating 24/7 just for you to make money from. I'll play this video that goes into the ideology of what we believe in.
At the Competence Network, you train. You train until you bleed. We train and we do not pay administrators. The only thing stopping you is your banker-induced emotional mind. You are not incompetent. Your team is not incompetent. You need to train. You need to train like never before. This is the only place on the planet where a small business, a medium-sized business, even a Fortune 500 business could function better than any company out there because of the caliber of training we have, the caliber of tools we have, the ideology of industry we harbor. We don't compete by printing money. We compete through competence. One of ours is worth 1,000 of theirs. At the Competence Network is where failure comes to die. If you give me a few months of your dedication, I guarantee you success. I guarantee you freedom from your banker-induced emotional mind. I guarantee you and your team competence.
That should be enough there. I think it's highly important that we dive into the details of what we need to be covering today. So let's begin. Let's begin. So, again, who am I? Who am I? I'm not a person that grew up in Silicon Valley. I'm not a person that went to the Ivy League college or a university or private school of any sort where I had to meet the Obamas to be successful. I'm somebody who started from nothing. I had nothing. I had to work for everything I have. Like I told you, I've built companies in the transportation industry, in the distribution industry, as far as the food distribution. I've grossed millions there. I've turned around those companies from not making a profit to making profit by using various technologies. I've made money in software. I have made money in entertainment. The most money I made in money transmission, a money transmission company, very, very early and in distributed ledger cryptographic technology. I have made hundreds of millions in these sectors, And the most important thing is not about technology, it's not about AI, it's about people. Ultimately, what is a business doing? We're serving people. Without people, there is nothing. So we need to understand that. And I never understood this clearly myself. Like, whether you believe it or not, I never understood this. But people are what we ultimately need. And at every point in my success, I needed people. So we're going to dive into the dream outcome. What do we want? We want to operate like a Fortune 500 company. For the first time in history today, a small business, a medium-sized business can operate at the level of a Fortune 500 company if they integrated the right technologies, AI, hiring offshore to reduce costs, hiring extremely high invested people locally here, and moving fast. Automating. You can automate so much. One computer with the right software, with the right integrated technology, and one person, one A quality, A player person could run a company and make it seem like 50 people are running the company. An old brick and mortar company that required 50 people to run, I'll rephrase that, could be functioning and operated with one person and the right technology today. That's why we're here. And I'm going to show you how we can implement this. What does that do? It makes it affordable. So you're not breaking the bank to hire people. We all hate micromanaging. We all hate VAs. We all hate low effort people. If we're paying somebody, we expect them to bring their best to work. We expect them to work hard. We expect them we just expect them to be team players. And sometimes it's hard to find those right people initially and for the long term. So what's the problem with low effort people? Low effort people, not just VAs or freelancers or just local people that are not very committed to work, is they have limited problem solving skills. If anybody who's hired virtual assistants, just not the typical employee, you're not getting Ivy League employees from Harvard in your company, especially if you're a medium-sized company or a small business. Unless those guys are usually starting their own companies or they're going to work for Google because they're getting paid $1 billion, 500 million, or 500,000. If you're a small business, you're not paying these people. And especially the people that are stuck at 1 million to 3 million and your gross is roughly 300,000. It's what you know it yourself. What you need to do is you need to bring on an A player. That's who's going to change the business for you. So A players cost a lot of money. To get them on board, and that's going to change your lifestyle as far as what's happened historically until now. Revenue loss accumulation. We're going to lose a lot of revenue just from not having the right systems, the right people. The right systems and the right people change businesses. They make businesses. Let's see. My bad. With the right systems and one A player for each system. Let me not say you only need one person, but one A player for each system can function like 50 people are running this system. That's what we're about to unveil here. And then you being the bottleneck. If you've hired anybody who's hired at any level, you understand that micromanaging, if that's happening in your company, those people shouldn't be there. That's my philosophy. You shouldn't micromanage. Good people, once they understand what they need to do, they go out there and they get it done. You don't have to constantly micromanage a person. You don't have to constantly keep missing deadlines. Competence is about the objective and getting the mission done. If the people are not competent, you have nothing. So if you're the only person thinking, especially thinking is harder work. I always say this. Thinking is harder work than doing physical labor. Thinking is extremely exhausting. And most people don't want to think. They want to get tasks done, and that's pretty much it. Your current solutions fail. Let's go into why you're stuck, why you're not growing, why you're having so much stress running a business. Running a business should be fun. That's the funnest thing one can do. Again, I think I ran into the freelance limitations. They can't solve problems. That it just comes down to that. Freelance people, VAs, and just overall not so committed employees. They don't want to solve problems. They just want to come to work and go back home, and that's their day. They don't really care about you. They don't really care about your company. They just want to collect their pay and they want to go back home. Do you blame them? I won't completely blame them, but what's in your best interest? To keep them or to find people that are going to train? I'll keep using that word, train. Train while you're not working and work tirelessly while you're working. High cost operation managers. So we went over this. The best people are looking for, on the low level, 120,000 maybe. And pretty much you as the owner, that eats in all your margin, especially if you're a small, medium-sized business. That's pretty much, especially small business, that's eating in all your margin. Especially if you don't even have 100,000 in revenue. But most people that I've worked with are doing less than 100,000 a year in revenue. They're doing less than 10,000 a year in revenue. And we've taken those people to high numbers, simply just having us install one A player into their business. It's not eating into their life. They're not breaking the bank to do it. And then we're having these weekly calls with them on how they can scale sales. They focus on sales solely. We automate their entire backend. A player is running that. We're building software. We're integrating software. And how do we do this? I'm going to explain how we do this exactly as we go down the line. Effective agency support, right? So you get an agency. They tell you all these great things and what they can do for your company. And they're just collecting your money too. That's not why we're here. We have an invested interest into you winning. We work hard with you. We have these weekly calls with you. We consult the top players in your industry through my contacts in business, through everything I've done so far. I have networked with various people in various industries, and if I do not know somebody in your specific industry, I will reach out to my contacts to find the top players in those industries, have a meeting with them, make sure one of our guys can meet the high level people there, ask them questions, ask them specific questions towards your specific company, your specific use case, your specific bottleneck. And every single time we have a weekly meeting, we are discussing sales solutions for free. And we have an offer where we charge almost 100,000 just to come into a business for somebody and implement sales systems. You're getting this for free because we want to see you win. We want to see you achieve your goals, because if we can automate your back-end solutions and you could focus on sales, we want to be able to come in, help you scale your sales so that we make more money. You save more money and everybody's happy. And that's what ultimately it helps us keep recruiting the best people. You keep benefiting from us recruiting the best people, training the best people, and taking advantage of the software systems that we have while you focus on the sales. And we still advise you on how you can scale with your sales. Okay, so root cause. Again, you as a small business, as a one-man show or a few person company, you need to build out multiple departments. You need a sales department, you need a finance department, you need the operations department, you need a project coordination department, you need the fulfillment department, you need a customer service department. There's so many departments you have to build out. For the first time in history now, you can build out all these departments, like I said, with one competent A player for each department and systems in place, software systems, virtual assistant systems if needed. One competent A player, if not multiple, depending on what size you are. And for the first time in history, you can get these A players for a fraction, not even a fraction, less than a fraction of the cost because of the model we have. You're stuck in the middle. Your company is too small to get the best people, the Ivy League people. Well, not Ivy League people. I'm not an Ivy League person, but I wanted Ivy League people. And there's nothing special about an Ivy League person. Here's what I found. The only difference between somebody that you consider Ivy League or A player is the level of commitment. That's it. It's just the level of commitment. If somebody is committed to winning, to the objective, to you getting to where you need to be with your goals, it's going to happen. Nobody has more brains than the next person. Maybe a few IQ points more or less, but nobody has 5 times the IQ. Nobody has 5 times the IQ as the next person today. And even if they did, the person with the highest IQ died a poor man. He was some guys in some part of the United States. He had the most measured IQ, and he died with lesser fortune. I know guys with less than 80 IQ that have made hundreds of millions. Make that make sense? It's simply a people skill. So if you're and a commitment skill. So if your people are not committed simply because you're not paying them $1 million, or they don't have the right ideology, it's going to be hard for you to make money at all. And the only way to make money is to have a competent team and to have competent systems. I have not found, if there's another way out there that you can make money with, let me know. I have not found a better way besides having good people, hardworking people, committed people, and competent systems. Limited VAs, the limitations of VAs. So virtual assistants execute tasks. And low-level employees execute tasks at every juncture of business. What else? Freelancers execute tasks too. Contractors execute tasks. Committed employees execute objectives and outcomes. Unfortunately, today, or fortunately for you today, there are good AI systems and other software systems that are in place that do tasks. Today, you can have a software that can go into your software to do tasks. So the skill of having a VA, a low-level employee, you're pretty much just throwing money into the fire pit at this point. You are throwing money. Personally, for me, change started to happen when I started to integrate systems, when I started to think strategically about how I can save money, when I started to utilize the global pool and not just paying people a little because they're in some foreign country and not properly vetting them. Vetting high IQ, high accomplished, high degree, high committed career people all across the world. Companies do this. Huge companies are doing the same thing. They're utilizing people from all across the world. They're not just hiring locally. They look for talent all around the world, and they get the best people for tasks. They vet those people, get those best people for tasks, and they execute that hiring process there. That's the same thing we're doing. The only thing is we're doing this with different companies. You're benefiting from economics of scale. Just like Starbucks would be in a grocery store, a Fred Meyer or whatever other grocery stores are, Kroger, Walmart, and so on. They're utilizing, they're sharing infrastructure. They're applying their economics of scale together. They're sharing resources. They're sharing the electricity bill. They're sharing the infrastructure bill. They're sharing the rent. They're sharing employees in some cases. They're sharing a lot of infrastructure and expenses together. Huge companies are doing this and they have billions in revenue. Why wouldn't small businesses come together and benefit from this company's tech team? This company's sales, not sales team, but in some cases sales team. This company's administrative department. this company's finance department systems, this company's systems on how to run email, this company's systems on how they're effectively recruiting and generating leads, this company, so many systems in place, this company's systems on financial structure, this company's systems on how to increase customer retention, on how to optimize leads and sales calls and so on how to optimize various email systems, call systems. That's what is happening here. We're benefiting from the not just the economics of scale, but the knowledge of different institutions that are functioning well. And every single week or every single day, we're coming back and we're giving you this data. We're giving you this information for you to implement in your company without you doing too much thinking. You focus on increasing your sales. And even when you focus on increasing your sales, we're helping you out with no cost. We're coming every single week at your choice. You select the date, we come on a call, we see what you're doing as far as sales, we advise you on what we've seen works and what we see doesn't work, and you take that information, you implement that. And if you decide you want to bring us on an aggressive sales execution, that is only paying us upon delivery of sales goals. We come in, if we believe in what you're doing, we come in, and ultimately, if we take you on in the beginning, we ultimately believe in what you're doing. We come in, we go out there, we aggressively bring sales numbers in, we scale your company to tens and hundreds of millions in revenue. We've done it multiple times. I've done it for myself, and I'm doing it for others, and I've done it for others that are willing to do it. Pool talent method. So I just explained that. You're benefiting from other people's talent. So pulling resources across companies. I just explained that. You're benefiting from the economics of scale with hiring. So you're not just hiring one person. You're hiring an entire department. If you hire an administrative department, you're recruiting not just one A player, but multiple A players that are going to look at the system you have and improve it. You're also hiring different departments as far as a tech team. If we think, hey, this is the process that's going on here, we can just develop some software, we can integrate some software here, we can save time, and let's focus on the high leverage points in the process. If we look at the process and you may have some software, we're going to say, hey, we don't think the software is the best thing here. You might want to have a human being because of this, and this here, and so on. So we're not just focusing on AI and software, we're focusing on optimizing for competence. And that's why I call it the competence network. AI automation. There's so much AI can do today. I can't even stretch that enough. There's a saying now going around to say one company that had 1,000 employees in a skyscraper, one computer, one MacBook with an AI can outperform that person as far as doing spreadsheets. That's incredible. We're in a different time today. We're in a different time, and I'm not the biggest fan of AI personally because I don't think it's living up to the hype that they're preaching. But on certain obligations, certain administrative tasks I've been able to see personally that we've integrated in different companies, well, yeah, it's definitely living up to that standard. So AI is definitely here to stay as far as task management and competence optimization for companies. It's definitely here to stay. Companies will function way effectively with less people, and the smart people can focus on the high leverage points, shared oversight and efficiency. So the average employee are paying 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 a month. They have needs. They're going to work 8 hours a day. They have to go home. They have to rest. You have to worry about taxes. You have to worry about their payroll taxes and so on. That's not what you're getting here. You're getting 24/7, depending on the task. 24/7 people working on your company, day in, day out. You have systems that are working day in and day out. They don't rest. The people that we have don't rest. We have training systems for your specific needs in your company. If you're a one-person company, a five-person company, 20-person company, doesn't matter. This system works 24/7 for you. Your competition is not doing this. Your competition is incompetent mostly. They're not implementing systems, thinking about the customer fulfillment processes. They're not thinking about a lot of this stuff. A lot of people that need oversight, you don't need that here. People, once they're taught, they're very intelligent. They'll go out there, they'll self manage, they're going to deliver. We're going to report on a weekly, daily basis. What you actually get. So I've gone over talking about A players, talking about competency, but let's talk about what you actually get with this. One, you get AI automations. Every single process that we think can be effectively done by AI, we're not even going to waste human resources and time to do them. Unless we think a human needs to manage it every now and then, AI mostly is doing a great job. You're going to get weekly consulting if you sign on for our A-player program. If you get A-player into your business from us, you're going to get weekly consulting. Even during the phase where we set up the system for you, whether you set up a weekly consult, whether you set up an A-player system with us, you're going to get weekly consulting as far as what we're doing, and then as far as your sales goes. Also, mindset things. I find that usually when a company is doing less than $1 million in revenue, especially less than 5 million, especially, it's just a mindset thing. It's just mindset limitations you have. We go into that in the weekly calls. You just have to fix the mindset a little, push things a little. You should be able to get to your goals if you have goals of exceeding where you are, which you should have. We should always have goals to exceed and improve. Train forces. So what you get is you also get a team that comes into your company. We implement a system, and then if you have employees that you think, okay, I could utilize my employees for this system, we train your employees. We come in, you don't have to use our A-player program. We come in, we train your employees, and your employees implement the system while you focus on the sales. If you have any employees, certainly you're not going to be able to do everything on your own down the line, especially as your company grows. You need people. I know it's always great to do something on your own. As much as AI is good, you always need people. And you just don't need any type of person. You need competent people. People that will get the objective done. People that are going to work tirelessly. People that are going to be committed to you. You're not competing with paying $1 million paychecks, cutting $1 million paychecks every year, every month. No, that's not the way you compete. As you grow, you're competing through ideology. Remember, people need to believe in what you're doing. And what's the best way to make people believe in what you're doing? To make sure that they are working for you tirelessly. When they're not working, they're training for you. Is to believe in the ideology we have. Competence. Optimizing for competence regardless. I went many months without making money, especially in the in the distribution transportation industry. But why was I doing it? Competence. One, I understood it's part of the training process. Training is pain. You have to go through pain. So I understood the sacrifice I had to take to get profitable, and that's ultimately what I call training. Training is painful sacrifice. Okay, so 2 ways to get A players outcome. So, like I said, we have the VA program. We have the training program. We went over that. We come in, we train your people, and then rather our A player program. We install A players in your company in areas that are back end. I'll be clear about that. Back end functioning. Tasks like invoicing and following up and so on, and sales systems and sales software and so on. We build out all those systems. All those back end systems, pretty much an AI can do. But installing a high level A player is what changes everything for you. Or we train your people. We build out the entire system for one time cost, and then we come in for multiple weeks and we train your people. I went over that a little there. And then structured support. We support you through the entire integration process until you're comfortable that you can manage the entire systems we have. Every business is different. I've seen different systems implemented in different types of companies, in healthcare companies, in software companies, in construction companies, in different service companies. It's all different what you're going to need. Some companies will just need a few subscription software. Some companies we come in, we build in software from scratch. We run the software for you. We show you how to run the software because we want you to save money too. If you think you don't want to run software, we get you the subscriptions, and there's just many ways to do this and train your people. That's what we specialize in. I think we went here. Training people here, escalating issues thinking, we went over that. Weekly consulting, thank you. So case studies. The company captured about 180,000. Company A, their success, we created $180,000 for them in new revenue just by implementing the system. This was a 1-2 person company. One guy, the other guy was trained. They captured within a few weeks 180,000 based on all the time they saved from doing all the low level tasks. And personally, for myself, I made serious substantial money when I stopped doing the low level tasks, which need to be done. You need to do customer fulfillment. You need to talk to the customers. You need to write that email. But once you start knowing the tasks that will bring the most outcome, high leverage tasks that will increase your company from doing 500,000 to 2.5 million dollars, from 2.5 million to 15 million. Those high leverage tasks won't come from doing micromanaging. You need to understand this. And even if you're at $1,000, $2,000 a month in revenue, that push that will take you to 20 million in revenue first. I mean, rather 20,000 in revenue is a very different task you need to do. Rather, it's just pushing yourself harder, working harder, and then getting maybe 1 or 2 A players on your team. That changes the entire game for you. The next company here was a commercial company. They added about 220,000 in revenue. We added that for them. That's additional revenue, and then this company saved on payroll $60,000 annually. So these are just a few use cases, not just me, because I've done it for myself. This has been done for other firms, and it could be done for you too by not breaking the bank. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands anymore to hire A players. That time is over. It's the new age here. Reverse risk or reversal risk. So we don't want you to feel like this is going to be risky. You might just spend money and not get anything for it. We guarantee 30 days you get your money back. If we install a system, back-end system, this is a back-end system that helps you save time so you could focus on sales. I'll be clear about that. You focus on sales, we build your back-end. So you just focus on whatever sales strategy you have, you focus on that. Additionally, we consult you weekly at your discretion. You pick a time if you want it for free, and we help you on your sales. The A player placement guarantee. Within 7 days, again, we place an A player in your company. If they're not performing, you have access with just if you're enrolling to our A player program, you have access to an unlimited amount of A players rather than the one we install in you. It's never happened to where we install somebody and they're not performing, but hey, first time for everything. We guarantee money back if they're not performing, and we can replace them. It's never happened, but we just put that guarantee because we're confident it's not going to happen. You have access to unlimited talent pool and vacancies. So you might be a business that has huge churn with employees. We offer not just one person or a human being that knows how to do something. We offer systems in our company. So our company is going to understand what systems you need help with, and when somebody is not available internally for you, it could be internal for you guys. All you have to do is pick up the phone, call us, write us an email. Hey, there's this task in this category. We don't have somebody this weekend, this week, this coming month. People are quitting, or I'm overwhelmed. You don't have to tell us too much. We understand the system. We simply install somebody for you, and you proceed with your operations as usual. Very simple, easy, transparent way without too much micromanaging, constantly recruiting people, constantly training people. You train them once, you recruit once, and we handle everything while you keep growing as far as your revenue, and we grow with you. If we see you're doing great things, we help you in various ways. Okay, so we clearly can't take on everybody. We can't have 10,000 companies to offering consulting to and all these other great services. So what we do is we source talent from the top five people on the planet, regardless of where. We don't care about credentials. We care about competence and ability to get the job done. So we vet people well in that aspect, and we get the top five people on the planet. I look for the best, only the best. And I go out there and I find these people and I make them work for me. And you benefit from that. We have limited consulting capacity. That's a huge one for us. We want to make sure we're only taking on people that are committed, people that are willing to move fast in their company, because speed is a huge part of our philosophy. And the capacity won't allow us just to give resources to people that won't take advantage of them. We want you to take advantage of us. You know, we want to be taken advantage of. Unlike other people, employees, they don't want you to take advantage of them. For us, we beg you to take advantage of us because we understand if you make money, we make money through our sales program, as far as if you decide to work with us. Upcoming price increases. So yeah, we're ultimately increasing prices as time goes by. So it's always great to act. I'm not just saying this as far as just saying it. It's always great to act now because we're growing extremely fast. We're taking on a lot of clients, but the clients that commit to us early, sign on early, grow with us early, the prices will never change for you guys. We're growing fast. Your competitors are taking advantage of this. Your competitors, as we speak, are utilizing generic, useless AI technology thinking they will beat you. This is not generic AI. This is not generic VA assistant program. This is not generic hiring from LinkedIn or Indeed and all these other platforms. This is highly effective, competent people from the Competence Network, people that are constantly training to get better, people that are considering themselves industrialists, people that are working tirelessly hard for you to make a fortune. That's what we are. And we destroy your competition. We make sure if we sign on somebody, we don't sign on people that we will deem to be competitors of them. That's a conflict of interest. We only sign on people that we know we are going to take to the next level, regardless of what stage they are, and we're going to destroy their competition. While their competition use useless technology available to them and low effort people that they will pay a lot of dollars, while you spend the minimum to hire high level people that are competing, people that will enable you to compete with companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon. You're competing with these companies, but you're spending a fraction of that, and ultimately over a long period of time you will become those companies and you will destroy them because you've got there economically and not by printing money. You've got there through ideology and competence. Keynote to summarize everything. You can read that, but personally, off the top of my head, the summary is you are getting a competent employee or employees from the competent network are coming in, are helping you with the high level back end work. Every single back end work, low level task that you can imagine, we can address it. We can automate it. Whatever is giving you the most stress in your company currently, we can come in, we can relieve that stress while you focus on high level tasks such as sales and scaling your company. While these tasks can be looked at extremely high competent people, they can build systems and tools as you go. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be the only thinker in your company. Only 1, 2, 3 thinkers if you're lucky in your company, which is extremely rare to have 1, 2, 3 thinkers in your company. Even Google itself, across one department with thousands of people, you're only going to have one thinker. One. Only one person built out the Google Maps application. Teams tried. They failed. One person went home, came back over the weekend. He had built the entire application. That's how it's important and rare to have extremely competent people work for you. You're getting this rare service for the first time in history. It's made available to small, medium-sized companies that are having problems with hiring, churn problems, low effort employees, recruitment processes that take months and months and months to hire. Any form of process administrative, from administrative to ingenuity as far as your back end, we can address at the competence network while you focus on the high leverage areas of your business, which comes down to sales, leads, nurturing those leads, optimizing those areas, while we take on every aspect of your back end that you can possibly imagine. That's what we're ultimately delivering. And I urge you to book a call and let's discuss those tasks that are stressing you out currently in your business, and let's potentially discuss a long-term structure and how we can also help you with your sales. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys soon. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are or what time you are watching this. Thank you.